So we're going to look at the math workshop number 4 and number 5. All right. So for number 4, it's a multiplication problem. Now I don't have a lot of room right there, so I'm just going to kind of draw an arrow and do it over here to the side and put number 4. So there's where I'm going to do my number 4. Can y'all see that? Oh, I might need to move it over. There we go. Okay.
I really like the way you drew that up there neatly to find out so that we're explaining the problem.
All right. And so that, and if you ever run into this where you're out of room on your paper, and let me, Olivia, can I borrow yours? This looks awesome. Can you unclip this for me? I'm going to use Olivia's. Do you mind if I put it on the screen too? All right. I'm throwing Olivia's stuff up here on the screen too. All right, guys. If you look on her paper, she's written out her work. All right. But look. Okay, y'all can't really see that. All right. All of her other work that you can't see, all of her other work is on this piece of paper, so she has room, and it's numbered. All right. So if you don't have enough room on that worksheet that I gave you, that's what your paper is for. Or you can do what I did and draw a line over here. All right, just make sure we can see where that problem is. All right, y'all ready? So we have 359 times 33. That's wrong direction. All right, I've seen some really silly mistakes happening with... Do you need one of these? All right, I've seen some really silly mistakes happening with our multiplication. So let's check every single step, make sure ours looks the same. If they don't look the same, that's a problem, okay? Because we're using the standard algorithm, so all of us should have the same work. So first we're going to start with this first 3, and I'm going to multiply it times every single number. So 3 times 9.
27.
Thank you, Camilla, for raising your hand and remembering that rule. Awesome. What did you get for 3 times 9, Camilla? 27. Now, Camilla, when I put my 27, do I just write the whole thing down? What do I do?
Put the 7 under the 3 and the 9 and carry the 2 on top.
Excellent. So we wrote the 7 down, carried the 2. Now, am I done with this 3 right here in front? No, I've got to keep using it. So we're going to do our 3 times 5. What does that give me, Javon?
3 times 5 is 15, and you add the 2 is 17.
I like it. He said it's 15, but we also have to add the 2 to get 17. And we're going to write the 7 and carry that 1. All right. What do I need to do next, Jet?
You need to multiply 3 times 3 and then carry the add the 1 to it.
Okay, 3 times 3, which is?
9.
9, and add that 1, which is 10. See how all those multiplication facts come in handy. If we don't know those, this is going to be really hard. So those are very important. All right, do I need those little numbers up there anymore? No, so we can mark those out. Do I need that first 3 anymore? No. So I'm going to put an X there. All right. Am I ready to multiply the next 3? Yes? No? What's the next step, True?
You have to put a 0 down.
We have to put a 0. Now remember, we talked about this yesterday. 3 is in the third. It's 30, right? So it's in the tens. All right, guys, my little trick for remembering this, like y'all, like I'm all about, like I love cheesy and corny stuff. I love it. Helps me remember stuff. We've got to remember, if we write an X, we've got to put an O. Like X's and O's. So if we put an X on that 3, we've got to put an O, a 0 down here. All right? And again, that's because that's in the tens place. Okay? So now what are we going to do next? Noah.
3 times 9.
Doing it again. 3 times 9, which is? 27. So we're going to put our 7 and carry our 2. This should sound familiar. If we get a different number doing this one, then on one of them we made a mistake, okay? So now what am I going to do next? Akina.
Multiply 3 times 5, which gives you 15, and add 2 to 17.
Perfect. 3 times 5, 15. Add the 2, 17. And then lastly, Olivia, what are we going to do?
3 times 8.
Which is?
9.
And then?
Add the 1.
Which is?
10.
Perfect. All right, so now we're ready to, what am I going to do with all those numbers? Owen. Adding them. When I add them up, let's do this kind of together quickly. 7 and 0.
7.
Very good. I like the unison there. Let's try again. 7 and 7.
14.
Good. Carry the 1. So I have 1, 0, and 7.
8.
Okay. 1 and 0?
1.
1 and nothing?
1.
All right. So we got 11,847. All right. Are there any questions on that multiplication? Tomorrow we're going to do some checkpoints. You're going to learn to love checkpoints because it's like you should automatically get a 100 because you do it until you get it right. This is where I'm seeing the biggest struggle. Okay? If you know that you're having some trouble with this, you are not alone, but we need to work on it together. Okay? All right. Number 5. Let's see how many of us can get number 5. This one I've been really pleasantly surprised with today. There are 24 hours in each day. How many hours are in 2 weeks? Now remember, for part A, I need to know which operation, but also why. Which operation and why? Maddie? Perfect. Okay, so multiplication, I think that makes the most sense. Can you tell me why?
Because 24 hours for each for 14 days.
What word did she use there that's getting me so excited right now? Mary, do you know what word was it that you used? Close. Repeats. Repeats, yes. Because the 24 hours, does it just happen once? No, it's going to repeat. Anytime it happens multiple, we're going to multiply. If it happens multiple times, we're going to multiply. All right? It happens multiple times when it repeats. So it's that same concept. If you said 24 hours happens multiple times, that would be fine, but we want to make sure we emphasize 14. So we're going to say multiplication because, sorry, I got a little excited now, I'm out of breath, because 24 hours repeats 14 times. All right, and I like that times is also an indication because what does time sound like to us? Multiplication. So it's repeating and then how many times, that's that multiplication reason. All right, let's show our work real quick. So we have 24 times 14. Okay. Walk me through the first step, Ethan. All right, we're starting right here. 4 times what? 4 times 4. We're starting right there. We got to do our 4 times 4, and then we can do our 4 times 2, right? So what does our 4 times 4 give me, Ethan? 16. Write our 6. Carry our 1. What's next, Hunter?
You did the 4 times 2.
4 times 2. What does that give me?
8.
And
add the 1.
And add the 1. Which gives me 9. So right now, everyone make sure you have 96. If you put 86, you forgot to add the 1. All right. Emma, what do I need to do next? Mark out the 4, X the 4. If we have an X, add our O. X is an O. All right, and like Emma said, we can mark out that 1 that was on top so we don't accidentally use it again. All right, so we have our X and our O. Now, what's my next step? Kelsey? All right, and then what, Trip?
Then you do 2 times 4.
Which gives me?
2.
And then what do we do? Owen? Add 6 plus 0?
6.
9 plus 4? 13. Carry the 1. 1 plus 2? All right, awesome job. All right, what I need for you to do right now, this goes in your math workshop section. So clip that in your math workshop and get out your homework, those 6 questions. We need those 6 questions. All right, looks kind of like this. All right, when you have your homework out, I need your pencil to be in the pencil tray up at the top of your desk, that little pencil holder. All right, and I want you to get out a colored pen or a colored pencil. Either one is fine. Okay, so during warrior time, I want you to do that for me and bring it to me during warrior time, okay? All right? And go out the hallway and work on it right now. All right? If there's anyone else that did not have their homework completed, I need you to go out in the hallway and work on that, please. All right? Anyone else? Javon's the only one that's going to get some credit. Use a colored pencil because a black pen isn't going to stand out very well. So if we have a colored pencil, that would be even better. Ma'am? Highlighter, yes, just make sure that you can read it.
Yep, clipboard.
Clipboard? Yes, I do. All right, take your binder. Thank you. All right, let's stop clicking. So we need to start checking. Now, guys, when you're checking, what I want you to do is I don't need you to mark a bunch of X's. All right, in fact, you don't have to put a single X. Okay? What I want you to do is look at the work and see where you made your mistake. So let's say on number 1, if you got something different, underneath your different answer, I want you to write down what your correct answer should be. All right? And then so you can rework it later. If you rework it and cannot get the correct answer, hi, my name's Miss Sawyer. I'll be in this classroom at 7 o'clock in the morning if you'd like to get some help. Okay? So if you can't figure out how to get the correct answer, please come and see me when you get to school. All right? And we'll look at it together. Does that make sense? All right? Same thing on number 2. Write down that correct answer down here. And with your red pen, if you're done checking those, write down those correct answers. If you're done and you're sitting and waiting, what can you start doing? Reworking the problem. Yes, Jet. Very good. All right. So if you got a wrong answer, write the correct one down. And while you're waiting, you can start reworking it. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pause. Are there any questions about number 1? Do we need to look at number 1? Do we need to look at number 1? Make sure, a lot of times what I see is we forget to add that extra number that we put up there when we're carrying. Okay? Any questions about number 1? Any questions about number 2? Number 2 had a lot of borrowing. Is there anyone that would like us to look at number 2? Make sure if you got a different answer, you're writing that correct answer in so you can check it later. Okay. Number 2. Number 2, what's your question, McKenna?
1 can't subtract from 3.
All right, on our notes for today, you'll notice it already has number 2 written for you. All right, remember if you want to, just to make it easy to find, if you want to write number 2 up here in that top corner, you're welcome to. All right, next to name, please write your name. So if it's left in a class or anywhere, I know who to give it to. So please put your name next to where it's labeled, your name. All right, and then this is 4th period. Okay. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fill in that vocabulary. Guys, be careful. It looks like everything's written for you. But there are blanks we're going to fill in together. Is everyone ready? Ready? Okay. The quotient is the result when the dividend is blank by the divisor. Who thinks they can fill in that blank for me? Raise your hand. Javon?
Divided.
Divided. Because the quotient means that we divided. So the quotient is the result when the dividend is divided by the divisor. All right, so let's talk about what a dividend is. The dividend is a number that is being divided or split up by another. So the dividend is what you're actually breaking apart. And maybe we can put that right here. We'll put breaking apart. Okay. So that's what you're actually splitting up. All right. When we set up division, all right, I'm going to scroll this down for just a second. When we set up division, does that look familiar? That's that little like division house. That's what I like to call it. Because this kind of forms an inside, like that's the roof, that's the door. So this is the inside, and that's at the door, and that's up on the roof. Okay? So what we want to do when we're setting this up, please remember the dividend is the one that's in. It's the one that's inside. The dividend is the one that's in. The divisor is the number by which the dividend, which is the number that's being split up. So the divisor is the number by which the dividend is being divided. So this is the one doing the work. This is the one doing the work. This is the one you're trying to put. Dividend's the one that's being divided. The divisor is the one that's doing the dividing. Okay, and we'll look at that in just a minute. All right, so just like we were talking about with that door, with that inside and the door and the roof, remember, and y'all, I spelled remember wrong there. So add an M if you want. You don't have to. All right, the divisor is the one that's at the door. The divisor is the one that's at the door. So y'all should have those blanks filled in at this point at the top. All right. So let's talk about the long division algorithm. We talked about algorithm a little bit yesterday. What does the word algorithm mean? Like, what's special about an algorithm? Jet? Okay, so you're on the track. That is the way we would do the algorithm for like adding and subtracting and multiplying. But what is special about an algorithm? Olivia?
It's always the same.
It's always the same. It always works. All right, so an algorithm is just a way to work a problem that's always going to work if you follow the steps. All right, we're going to label down here where my dividend and divisor and all would go. Remember, what did we say goes at the door? Raise your hand. What goes at the door, Jet? Divisor. What goes inside? The dividend. And what goes on top?
The number that's being divided.
Oh, what goes up here? What was that?
Quotient.
The quotient, the answer. All right, when we set it up horizontally, so going straight across, you actually start with the dividend. Then you have the divisor, and then the quotient. And guys, here's the cool thing. Those are actually in alphabetical order. Think about it. Dividend is going to come before divisor, which is going to come before quotient because that starts with a Q. So those are actually in alphabetical order going across. Kind of a good way to remember what's what. All right. So let's talk about this algorithm. Let's actually work some problems. All right. This algorithm you probably learned or talked about last year. All right. These are the steps. How many steps are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And if it doesn't get you to the answer, then you just start all over and do those 5 steps again and again and again until you finish. All right. Does anyone remember a good way to remember the letters in these steps? Tiva? Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? All right. I have another student in one of my other classes does not like McDonald's. All right, which I think is insane because I love me some Mickey D's. All right. She prefers to say, does Mary sell chocolate bars? It's up to you. I like does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers because it's easy for me to remember. All right. Okay, so we're going to start with D. What does D stand for? Divide. All right, guys, we need to fill this in, okay? And we're going to do one problem, too, because I changed it to 5 minutes instead of 2 on that alarm. All right, M stands for multiply. S stands for subtract. C stands for check. And B stands for bring down.
Our teacher last year had, like, it was a song. Like, they played a song for us to make story. Yeah.
I think, it's a rap that I have. All right, that I can play for you tomorrow, but we're short on time today. All right, divide, multiply, subtract, check, and bring down. So guys, when I set this up, the way I remember this, it sounds a little goofy. All right, I have brothers, and usually what happens still to this day, whoever makes it in the house first, so like the first number, usually if you're the first one out of the car, you run in the house, lock the last person out. Have y'all ever done that to any of your siblings? Yes. All right, yeah, so some of us can relate. All right, so do y'all see how 298 is in front? Since it's the one in front, it's the one that makes it in the house. All right, and 7 is the one that's last, so it's the one that gets locked out by the door. All right, it seems really silly, but it helps us remember where things go. Yes, Jeff?
The divisors are like doors.
Divisor and door go together. All right, so now we're going to look and we're going to ask ourselves, will 7 go into, we're not going to do the whole 298, we're just going to look at 2. Can 7 go into 2, guys? No. If you want, you can put a 0 there. Sometimes people just leave it blank. If you want the 0 so we have a number, that's fine. Because every single number should have something on top. Okay? So 7 won't go into 2, so we put a 0. Will 7 go into 29?
Yes.
Yes. Raise your hand if you can tell me how many times. Truett?
4.
4. So guys, I'm going to put that 4 on top of the 9. 4 times 7 is? 28. When I subtract, I get? 1. All right, we've got to check. If I check and it doesn't work, that means I got to redo it. So when we check, is 1 smaller than 7? Yes? So we did good. We can keep going. Okay? So next we're going to bring down. I'm bringing down the 8. 7 will go into 18. Noah? 2 times. And 2 times 7 is? 14. When I subtract, I get 4. What am I going to do with that 4, Kelsey? Ooh, I like what she said. We're not going to put an R for remainder anymore. We're going to make it a fraction. So there's my fraction bar. All right. That 4 is going to go on top. 7 is going to go on the bottom. So my answer, and look, when I circle it, I'm not circling the 0. It's 42 and 4 sevenths. All right, 4 sevenths is a nice fraction because can it get any smaller? No, it's where it is. Sometimes they can get smaller. Guys, I'm going to continue working number 2 in just a... All right, on number 2, we're going to take our 300. It's in the front, so it's the one that makes it in the house. Our 45 is last, so it's stuck at the door. All right, we know 45 can't go into 3, obviously. 45 definitely can't go into 30 either, so we are stuck trying to think of a number for how many times 45 will go into 300. A good way to think of this is 45 is kind of close to 50. So 50 is usually easy to think about because we know it goes twice into 100. So that would be 6 times into 300. So that might be a good number to try to start with. So now we have 6 times 45. Again, this is going to be larger to multiply, so I might want to go over to the side to do that multiplication. So I'm going to kind of scoot and do it down in this bottom corner. 45 times 6. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry my 3. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 3 gives me 27. So I have 270. So that was my multiply. Now I'm ready to subtract. So when I subtract that, 300 minus 70 is going to give me 30. If you wanted to see that slowed down a little bit, we do 0 minus 0. 0 minus 7 we can't do, so we borrow. So that becomes 2. And then this is now 10 minus 7, which is 3. So we have 30. There's nothing left to bring down. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's check. Don't forget to check. I missed that one. Check. 30 is smaller than 45, so we made a good choice. There's nothing to bring down, so now we're ready to write our fraction. 30 goes on top. 45 that was at the door is in the denominator. All right? So here's our final answer so far. The problem is this is a fraction, and 30 and 45 can simplify. So we're going to divide those both by 5. So that gives me 6 and 30 divided by 5 is 6. So 6 over 9. 6 and 9. This one is one that a lot of people will miss out and simplify and not simplify. 6 is an even number. 9 is an odd number, but don't forget about the number 3. So 3 can divide into 6 and 3 can divide into 9. So we're going to do that one more time. So now I have 6 as my whole number. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So there's my final answer for number 2. All right. Make sure you complete all of your homework today. Those 6 problems again.